Welcome to our video lesson on variables and algebraic expressions. We're going to use these notes before we get into lesson 5.2. So here we go. This is a way of expressing mathematical ideas that use variables, constants, numerical coefficients, and mathematical operations. And that will be algebra. Anytime we have a letter that represents an unknown value or a changing value, we have what's called a variable. Examples of variables would be A, B, C, and so on. A term is made up of a number and a variable put together by multiplication. However, we do not use the multiplication sign between them. For example, when we write 5 next to y, that means 5 times y. But we do not write 5xy because the x is a variable and not a multiplication sign anymore. This will confuse some people. Remember, multiplication is repeated addition, so this also can mean 5 times y would be 5 y's being added together. Y plus y plus y plus y plus another y. That would be 5y, which also means 5 times y. Another vocabulary word we have in this lesson is what we call a numerical coefficient. You'll hear me talk about coefficients in the near future. A coefficient is the name given to the number in a term. Remember we talked about what a term was. A term is made up of a number and a variable put together by multiplication. The name given to the number in that term is called a coefficient. For example, in the term 6a, the 6 is the coefficient. In the term negative 3x, negative 3 is the coefficient. Then we move on to what we call the constant. The constant is a value that does not change. In other words, it's a term with no variable. For example, negative 7 without a variable is a constant. 4 would be a constant. 3 would be a constant. And then we have the definition, a mathematical statement that contains terms, numbers and variables, and at least one operation. And of course, they could contain more than one operation. These are called an algebraic expression. An algebraic expression. It's a math statement that contains numbers and variables and at least one of these operations, and probably more. Some examples of algebraic expressions: 4 added to h, 3 times some number, we'll give it a variable d, decreased by 6. And we could also look at, we have a variable f, and we're going to square it, raise it to the second power, and increase it by m. These are all examples of algebraic expressions.